Welcome back to the channel, guys and gals. Well, some of y'all might be asking, King Julian, what is a diesel tender? Well, a diesel tender was usually a steam locomotive, whether it be a 4-axle or a 6-axle tender that was a leftover, spare, or one that was spared from being scrap metal. And during the early days of diesels, such as the early alcos and the F7s and stuff like that, commuter trains, because they still use steam heat on the passenger cars, they would run one of these, highly modified. And sometimes even on long distance trains, they would use a diesel tender to supply extra fuel and extra water. Western Pacific was known for these. In fact, there is still one in preservation. Um, the one I saw that was still in preservation is a dark blue with the Western Pacific logo on it. I can't tell you why, but there were others that were in black, and there was one that was also painted to actually match a Western Pacific F7 F unit locomotive, uh, which was used on a commuter and long distance as well. So this one is um, well, we'll just say a spur of the long tender I saw on the internet of the Western Pacific. Now, when this one's painted, it would be painted. Yes, that is a B unit alco. Don't ask. But it would be painted to go behind the Menards F7 and the silver, red, yellow, and black paint scheme. And that will be behind the first one. We will also be doing another one in UP yellow that will match the Menards F7 Menards locomotive. And then I got a long tender I'm going to build with cold load in it for the 2025. I have not stopped working on America. In fact, I'm waiting on just one more part before I can put the new E unit in it. And so this is really why I'm saying these. Of course, for those who are wondering about the Alco, that one was actually bought for the motors for another project. Um, Not too sure what I'm going to do with that one yet. My son wants to keep it. I'm more apt to just use the motors out of it, but I don't know. We'll figure that one out later. B unit will be sticking around though. Okay, that was kind of sidetracked. But so, but the diesel tenders, going back to it, was used on multiple railroads. Were also used in work trains, and sometimes used on refrigerator trains, just depending on what they were being used for and what the railroad needed them for at that time. Now, Western Pacific was known for using these. As time would go on, other railroads would follow. What other railroads would you do, you ask? Well, other railroads would include Santa Fe, Union Pacific, Southern Pacific, Pennsylvania, which, yes, Pennsylvania did have a couple of them. New York Central did have one, but it was mainly consisted of a work train, and several other Class 1 to Class 3 railroads would also run them. Even some excursion trains did run them as well. I have been told that there was one that was involved with the Canadian Pacific when it went to Mexico, that there was one on it. I've been watching videos and have not seen it. It is a possibility there was one on there, just don't know for sure. So that is what a diesel tender is. It is a way to supply extra fuel and water for steam heated cars and locomotives as well. This one is not done by any means. In fact, if you watch the short, I will have to sand this right here, this little line, which is where the two were merged. I still have to make the bottom, fit the wheels, and cut the top out right here and modify it to be a solid. I have a light to make to go back here. Of course, grab rails and multiple other little detail parts will need to be done on this to be correct. I hope y'all stick around to see all the extra upcoming videos on it as things progress, and doing this with my son and I, up to including when we make the footsteps, or foot stirrups, if you want to call it that, handrails, which will all be made by hand, and extra railings and stuff like that. So please stick around to check that out, and I'll see y'all on the next video. Keep the shiny side up, rubber down. Hopefully we'll see y'all tomorrow. Y'all have a wonderful evening and a great Happy New Year. Y'all have a good night.